on ESPN.
Thank you, Wendy. It is trade deadline day in the NFL, which officially ends at 4 p.m. Eastern. Here are some trades that have already happened. Jalen Ramsey went from Jacksonville to L.A. The Falcons sent Mohamed Sanu to New England to join the Patriots. And just yesterday, we saw the Jets trade Leonard Williams to the Giants. We heard on Sunday the Eagles might do something now that they're at 500. On that note, we bring in ESPN insider extraordinaire, our guy, Adam Schefter. Adam, good morning.
Thank you for having me, everybody. Appreciate it.
Of course. Great to have you with us. Adam, what's the biggest move out there that could potentially happen today?
Well, I think the name to watch is Trent Williams. I've insisted all him, but common sense and logic just says that the wise thing here would be to trade him. And again, they've been saying all along that that's not going to happen. I was told yesterday, don't hold your breath looking for a Trent Williams trade. But we'll see whether or not they go ahead and make that move at some point later today. I think if they get perhaps the right offer, they could be enticed into trading Trent Williams, who hasn't shown up for the Washington Redskins so far this season. But we'll see what they wind up doing. Again, common sense says they make the deal. The team says they're not making the deal. We'll see what happens.
Adam Schefter, I am a fan of the one and only Mr. A.J. Green. I am hoping that he will be removed from the purgatory that is the Cincinnati Bengals, the perpetual purgatory that it is. Is there a team out there that could possibly entice the Cincinnati Bengals to to let this man go and to free him finally?
Stephen A, it would be great to see. Again, the Bengals' history is that they don't trade players. It is not what they've done, and they have been on the record as saying that they will not trade A.J. Green in this particular case. But what you're saying makes absolute perfect sense. We've got a wide receiver who's a veteran on a winless team, who's in the last year of his contract, who they're probably not going to franchise because of the cost of franchising a wide receiver, who would just wind up leaving after the season anyway. So if that's the case, and you're going to recoup a third-round compensatory draft pick in 2021, why would you not go ahead and trade him today and see if you could get back maybe a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick, something more than the third in 2021? Again, I think if you're looking at it with common sense and logic, you go make that trade, and you go get A.J. Green on a contender. And you know what? How about this? You give him a chance to finish out his career on a winning team with a chance to win games. This is a Bengals team that's winless. And if you're A.J. Green right now and you're sitting there with that foot injury that's been a factor all year long, and your contract's up after the year when Julio Jones is making $23 million a year and Michael Thomas is making $20 million a year, why are you coming back to play for a winless team? You're not going to do that. So let's operate in the assumption that maybe you don't have A.J. Green this year. Why not go get what you can for him today?
Meantime, a team that's had a lot of success in recent years, the Philadelphia Eagles, are not shy about making deadline deals the last couple of years. And it looks like they could use some team speed, although the secondary's finally healthy and playing better. And they're expecting Deshaun Jackson, I suppose, back, to his normal self on the field soon enough. What does it look like for them at the deadline?
Well, Max, you referred to those deals that the Eagles have made. Yes, on the deadline day 2 years ago, they traded a fourth-round pick, I believe it was, for Jay Ajayi. Last year, on deadline day, they traded a third-round pick to Detroit for wide receiver Golden Tate. And yesterday, the Eagles traded a fourth-round pick in 2021 to the Browns for Jannard Avery, the linebacker. Now, that's not the trade that Eagles fans want, right? They want Jalen Ramsey. They want Darius Slay. They want one of these cornerbacks to come into Philadelphia. The one thing we could say is the Eagles have made attempts to go get top-flight cornerbacks. But when they've spoken to the Jaguars about Jalen Ramsey, when they've spoken to the Lions about Darius Slay, when they've spoken to other teams, the price has been what they believe to be too high. And they have not made one of those deals. Now, the Eagles are one of the most aggressive teams in the league. So you just sit back and you wait to see what they're going to do today, if they're going to be able to pull off anything at all. It will not be for a lack of effort. That I can tell you. I don't know whether they'll get anything done. They already made one deal yesterday for a fourth-round pick. They'll see if they can make another today. Again, they're making calls. They've been trying. They've had a couple of things that they thought they had a shot to get through and didn't happen.
Adam, how about the Chiefs? Oh, go ahead, Stephen A.
Adam, I got to ask you about Marcus Mariota simply because he's a quarterback. And obviously, you might have some teams out there that needs a security blanket. They may not need him to be a starter, but you just never know with injuries and things of that nature. If the Titans were to trade him, he wouldn't, he would have no effect on them in terms of dead cap space, and he would save them about $21 million as far as I could tell. Talk to me about what their interest is in moving him and who potentially would be interested in acquiring him.
Well, listen, it's great to come up with names and ideas here, and I love this because it's like fantasy football, and fans love trades, and I love trades. But I don't think Marcus Mariota is getting traded right now. If you're going to look at it and the situation, there are two teams that would make a lot of sense. The Chicago Bears, Mark Helfrich is their offensive coordinator. Mark Helfrich, I believe, worked with Marcus Mariota at some point in Oregon. That would make a lot of sense. Not happening. That trade's not happening. And then the Denver Broncos could use a quarterback. Joe Flacco has a herniated disc in his neck at this point in time. They're going to give him off this week. Brandon Allen starts for Denver against Cleveland. And then the Broncos will reevaluate Joe Flacco after the bye to see whether or not he can come back or whether they have to put him on injured reserve. So there would be two teams, but there's been no movement on the Marcus Mariota front as of last night. That I could tell you. Now, could something change today? At the deadline, that's what it's about. The last moment, the 11th hour, teams sometimes put their best foot forward and make their biggest offers and make things happen that you wouldn't see. That's when we will see maybe a team step out there for Trent Williams. That's when we'll see maybe a team make a last-minute push for an A.J. Green to see if they can convince Cincinnati to trade him. But in terms of Marcus Mariota, I don't see that happening right now, Stephen A.
Adam, on that note, we know how prolific that Chiefs offense is. Clearly, they need some help on defense. They were apparently interested in also acquiring Jalen Ramsey. Do you see them doing anything to bolster that defense today?
It's a tough situation for them right now. As you mentioned, Molly, they've been in on some of these players, but their cap situation is such that they have limited flexibility, and we'll see whether they get anything done. It's a tough one. They could use help right now, and the defense the other night struggled to slow down the Packers at the end when they needed to get that stop. There's some help they need, but keep in mind, they didn't have Frank Clark in that game. They didn't have Chris Jones in that game, so I think the Chiefs need their own players back, even though they could supplement them in a trade. They're limited in what they can do right now.
All right. Adam, we've got plenty more questions for you, but unfortunately, we have to let you go. We'll be seeing you on television all day today as the trade deadline approaches. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for the great work, buddy.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, guys.
Still to come, it's been a disappointing season for the Browns, so why doesn't that apply to Odell Beckham? We'll debate it. Plus, Russ says he's got no friends on the court. Is that the attitude that's going to put the Rockets over the top this season? We get into it.